Hello and welcome to our post-match show after the 1-1 draw with Luton Town at the John Smith Stadium. I'm delighted this weekend to be joined by former Huddersfield Town striker Alan Lee and Huddersfield-born striker Cameron Jerome. How are you both? You okay?
Brilliant, thanks. Evening.
Very good. Good evening.
Yeah, good to see you both. I can imagine it's good for you two to catch up. Alan, tell us how you know each other.
We go back a very long way, actually. To be honest, I think Cameron was, let's say, a young pro when I was at Cardiff City. And I don't think he trained with the first team that regularly, but I don't think we really took him seriously until he made his debut. And I think scored 2 goals in his first appearance and just exploded onto the scene. Took my place in the team, and deservedly so. But it was, Cameron was very raw, but had so much talent. And, I just knew he'd go on, and play in the Premier League, which he did. He had a wonderful career. But most importantly, he was always a grounded lad. He was always a nice fella. And I can see he still is.
Did he take you under his wing, Cameron?
Well, yeah, to be honest, obviously Big Al, there was quite a few really good senior pros at Cardiff when I was there. Obviously, Alan being one of them, along with, Richard Langley, Joby McAnuff, the captain, Graham Kavanagh. So we had a real good core of senior players. And yeah, Alan was one of those who sort of took it upon his responsibility. We had myself and Joe Ledley, who was breaking in at the time. And, Alan just sort of, with his cheeky sort of banter and sort of tricks as well, he sort of did take us under his wing, yeah. But he was a pure gent, on and off the pitch. Sort of anything he needed, he always helped you with. Took me on my first holiday, which was an amazing experience as well. So it was a really good fella on and off the pitch, and it was a pleasure to share a dressing room with him.
Fantastic to bring you both back together on this show. Obviously, we're here to talk about Huddersfield Town. A fair point, do you think, Cameron?
Yeah, I think overall, I don't think either side did enough to win the game. Certainly not Luton anyway. I mean, Huddersfield got in some great areas at times in the second half, and 1 or 2 half-hearted shots for a penalty early in the second half as well. So I think 1-1 was probably a fair result for both sides in the end, but maybe slight disappointment from Huddersfield's perspective in terms of the overall domination of the game, chances, sort of entries in the final third, and obviously the overall possession.
What did you make of it, Alan? Do you agree with Cameron's assessment?
Yeah, listen. First of all, it was great to watch Huddersfield play. I mean, I'm involved in football still, so it's not very often you get a chance to watch your old clubs and really study what's going on. Obviously today, I'd be disappointed with the draw against Luton at home, but they probably didn't do enough to win the game. And I think they dominated for a while in the second half, and then Luton came back into it. But a typical championship game, I think Luton did a bit of a number on them today.
Yeah, obviously we went 1-0 down, but the goal had loads to like about it, didn't it, Cameron? It was really, it showed the style of play that Huddersfield Town have been trying to get across under Carlos Corberán.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously it was a good response in the second half. I thought the tempo was much better with the intent going forward, and obviously the way Pieper and Harry Toffolo, the way they exchange with the wingers roll inside, and the wing backs sort of give you the width on the outside. I think obviously that's obviously playing into Huddersfield's attacking options more and more as the games are going on, and obviously with Harry getting to the byline again and standing one up for the midfield runner who obviously met it perfectly, and it's a great header into the corner. It's a wonderful header.
You'd have been proud of that one, wouldn't you, Alan? That header. Yeah,
fantastic header. I think that comes from, it came from them getting behind. It's very rare you see a goal in football that doesn't involve someone getting behind the defence. So really good run from the full back, the left back. didn't try and pick someone out. Just I always say this to wingers: just leave it in an area where someone can run onto it. Fantastic. I was impressed with Eiting, actually, and a wonderful header. But I think that was probably the key how they're going to win that game. Luton were very tight, dropped back. They probably needed to get a few more crosses in. But that was a good example of how they want to play, I guess.
You said obviously that Harry Toffolo put the ball into the right area, but there were so many Huddersfield Town bodies in the box, weren't there?
Yes. But I think, if I'd one criticism for all, in the Championship, and as it goes on, and it's a slog. It's really, a year in the Championship is such a slog, and you've got to, for the keeping the ball and domination at play, these are really important moments. You need to get that ball into the box more often. And that was my one little criticism of today. I felt the wide players, Karoma and Diakabi, if I was a centre forward, I'd given up, counting the amount of times that they could just put a ball into a dangerous area. You don't have to beat your man. You don't have to be in loads of space. Just leave it in an area. But if you don't do that, people like Eiting stop making those runs into the middle to score a goal. I'd say the excellent goal, but could have done more of it, definitely.
Yeah, we'll come on to obviously possession and dominance with the ball in just a moment. But Cameron, the delivery, like Alan said, from Harry Toffolo was excellent. He put it into a good area. It's similar to one earlier this season as well, against Nottingham Forest that ended with Fraser.
Yeah, it was very similar, actually. Yeah, you're right.
The link up between Harry Toffolo and Josh Karoma, it's starting to blossom now, isn't it? You can see those two really having a feel between each other.
Well, yeah, you can certainly see it, especially the runs Harry makes, and I think obviously that's the sort of style what Carlos wants to sort of implement in his teams. He wants his fullbacks to be really high and either bombing on wide or being dangerous and cutting inside. So, I mean, I think it was the last game I watched was Birmingham, and people was having moments around the box, cutting inside and almost rolling in from the wide areas like a winger. So, I mean, obviously, it's encouraging when you're seeing your fullbacks really bombing on. But like Alan alluded to then, sometimes I think they can sort of play better balls into the areas when they're in the final third moments. I think sometimes the extra touch or trying to beat your man and things like that, it can be a little bit too much, and it can be also frustrating, obviously, from myself and Alan's perspective, both being strikers. I mean, Fraser must be inside the area pulling his hair at times. I think there's a couple of times where it was, I think, early in the second half where there was opportunities for the wingers, both wingers, to put the ball in the box, and you can see Fraser sort of being a bit frustrated in the middle, and obviously wanting something to feed off. As a striker, you can only feed off the chances you're given, and I don't think he was given many opportunities to score goals today.
I suppose when you have that much ball and your kind of main outlet is out wide through the likes of Toffolo and Pippa, Cameron, I can imagine what Alan's saying then kind of fits into that. If they were to whip the ball across the 6-yard box, then equally that you're going to create more chances, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just about mixing up your game. Like Alan said, only the top sides are really, really good at doing what they do, and that's obviously being patient, breaking down lines and breaking down teams by playing through the middle. And I just look at Liverpool, for example. They don't really play through the lines. Liverpool play a lot of diagonal balls, a lot of longer balls. They still use the pace in the wide areas in terms of Mane and Salah, and they have the width in terms of Robertson and Toffolo. Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. Toffs will be buzzing that I've just compared in there. But I mean, obviously the top sides, like your Barcelonas, your Man Cities, they're exceptional at doing it. But what I would say is Huddersfield is sort of in the transition with the new manager. It's early days. He's still trying to implement his style on things. And, like Alan did say, there's a lot of positives. I've seen positives in 2 games. I've seen 2 games which they've got 1 point from, Birmingham and Luton, and they should have, potentially 4, if not more. But it's like Alan said, you've got to sort of find another way. You've got to become unpredictable at times. And I think with Danny Ward being back today, I think he offers that a little bit of a different dimension as well. But obviously the players have got to recognise his strengths, recognise what he's good at. He's a slightly different player to Fraser. And maybe, that'll be something what the manager might have in mind, when he's fit and available to play.
How have you seen the style kind of develop since that Birmingham game?
Well, I think today was a little bit of a lesser performance in terms of, I thought the Birmingham performance was very, very, very pleasing. In my perspective anyway, I thought the second half at Birmingham, Huddersfield was excellent. Today I thought it was a little bit different. I thought Luton was very organised. I thought it was hard to break down. I thought it was a typical Championship team, really. Good from the set plays, strong through the spine of the team. They stopped Town when they could, and it was a sort of a good point from them. Coming up to Huddersfield, thinking, right, we're going to get amongst them, not let them play, not let them settle on the ball, and we'll try and nullify out their strengths, which is obviously playing between the lines and playing fast. And obviously Luton was quite good at stopping that today.
It seems to me, Alan, that this kind of opponent, it's typical of the Championship, big physical side. That's kind of what Huddersfield Town now have to adapt to, and like we said, turn that dominance into 3 points, but also get used to the more kind of physical battle and not getting too caught up in that.
Yeah, like I remember you listen, experience is everything. And if when I was younger, and I'm talking about 23, 24, if I'm playing for Cardiff, we'd quite a strong team, although we weren't that successful early doors. But teams used to play a deep block, and I'd really struggled with it, and we'd really struggled with it. I think as you get older as a centre forward, you learn you've got to pull. You don't look for the ball to feet. You pull away from the far side of the pitch from where the ball is. Diags are really important, and switching that play and just dragging your opponent around a bit. But it's easier said than done, breaking it down. But what I'd say today is maybe Sarr. I was impressed actually with Sarr on the ball. He stepped out and played a good diag, but then I felt the next bit was missing. If it went out wide, it would come back inside again. Whereas, a bit like Cameron says, I'd like to see the wingers go, right, I've got the ball. The opposition are retreating. I'm going to take them out take them on the outside, get the ball into an area, and just mix the game up a little bit. Mix the game up, and the one thing you don't want to be. You don't want to be predictable. Nowadays, everyone has the last 5 or 6 games you've played, and all your strengths, all your weaknesses. At a touch of a button, they can get it at home. So, I think you've got to be a little bit more unpredictable.
And we have to talk obviously about the goal we conceded. Was that just a case, Cameron, of us switching off at the back from set piece?
Yeah, I think so. I think it can happen. Obviously, set piece is the large part of the game in every division, but especially in the Championship. And I thought, Luton, with the size, there was something that was going to always look to work today. And obviously, it's something they've executed really well. But obviously, it's quite disappointing to lose a set piece from Huddersfield's perspective, especially at the back post in the manner which it did. But nevertheless, it can happen. You obviously see a lot of goals scored by set pieces, especially across the Championship. So it's something that they've obviously worked on, and fair play to them. But from Huddersfield's perspective, it's quite a poor goal to concede, to be honest with you.
You've obviously watched this twice and done this with us. Do you think it's just a case of trying to cut out those silly mistakes at the back to help us move forwards? Yeah,
definitely, because you're giving yourself a mountain to climb. I mean, the first goal in football is so important, and that's twice now I've seen Huddersfield fall behind to set piece goals, and is it a trend? Probably not. Is it concentration? Maybe so. Is somebody be more aggressive in the box? It could be a number of things. It might just need tweaking. Someone just to take charge. I thought Richard Stearman was good after that. I thought Stearman took charge and he took authority and picked up the big fella for Luton after that. But it might be a case of someone just taking charge and being one leader, one voice out there and saying, right, look, put players into position, and rather than 2 or 3 different voices and everyone's confused, there's one person who's central, who can see everything and organise and put people into place and say, right, look, I'm with him, I'm taking responsibility, this is my man, and and sort of be a leader on the pitch. And maybe that's something what they'll look at going forward.
I can imagine on the pitch, Alan, they're one of the worst goals to concede, aren't they, set pieces? Because you do so much work on them defensively and attacking, obviously, in training.
Yeah, it's all about individuals being switched on, I feel. I think it would be harsh. Good ball into the box. Sometimes it's hard to stop the man winning it. They're playing on the shoulder, big target man, he's good in the air, puts it back into a dangerous area. It's the next bit you've got to be disappointed with. So yeah. I think in a good dressing room, in a healthy dressing room, people are dug out for that. And it's not very nice, and I've been that person, and I've probably dug out other people as well. I think that's important, that those little moments like that, you've got to be switched on. You can't let your man, get past you. You've got to think of the second ball and all get into that mode, and almost be. I would say when I was youth team manager at Ipswich Town, it would always be like you've got to hope the ball comes into your area. Not this kind of thing, someone else will deal with it. Your mentality as a player is going, I hope this ball comes into my area because I'm going to be the one that clears it or steps out with it. So I know the manager will be disappointed with that. But it just goes to show you, both goals are scored from a ball into that area. People running into a dangerous area. Football never changes.
You're smiling there, Cameron.
Yeah, obviously, I can understand exactly what Alan's saying there. With being a striker, you want the ball in the box, and that second 6-yard box is the most dangerous area to score goals. And simple balls into the box are so effective at times, and sometimes the spectacular goals and the free kicks and the tricks and flicks, they get the accolades and the round of applauses, but the simple goals are the ones that go in just as good as well.
Obviously now at Huddersfield Town, we've got the international break coming up. After playing such a number of games over a short period of time, how important do you think this period will be, Cameron, just for Carlos to have extra time on the grass with the players?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, depending on what he wants to work on going forward and what sort of things he's identified over the last couple of games where he thinks he can maybe tweak and get his message across in the grass. But it'd be obviously a nice breather for the boys just to be mentally be able to just step away from the environment for a couple of days and, recharge the batteries, go and see family and friends. And well, not really because it's lockdown, but, just get out of the football environment of having Saturday, Tuesday, that heavy workload throughout the last month they've sort of had, and obviously get some, some players who have, maybe missed some minutes from injury or, things like that. They can obviously get some good amount of days training, and obviously it'd be nice for the boys to be able to work on a few things as well in the training ground. So yeah, I think it's highly important, and I think it'd be something the manager will be eager to sort of continue his work with. How
much as former players did you kind of enjoy the international break? Obviously you love playing games, but equally when you've played 7 games in such a short space of time, that rest and recovery and a few days away from football can really be beneficial as well, can't it?
Yeah, I have to say I used to enjoy the international breaks when I wasn't an international, that is. It's tough when you're in an international squad. You leave after the game today and you're straight into that environment again, and you're on lockdown in a hotel and there's security everywhere. And I used to, particularly as I get older, you start, a bad performance, a loss on a Saturday would just ruin my week. There was just no getting away from it. And as you get older as well, your powers physically, you become less and less. What you can do about it becomes less and less. You might know more about the game, but it was, being a footballer, and explain this to young kids as well. It's not this wonderful, flowery existence where everything is going fantastic. It would be if you didn't have to play on a Saturday, but you have to play, and there's pressure, and it might go wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it, and then it's a tough week. So just to be able to go play golf, have 2 days off in a row at the weekend, because you spend your life never having, you've got Wednesdays off, maybe the odd Sunday off, and it's relentless. So. And when we did have 2 or 3 days off, it was just, it felt like an eternity.
Yeah, because there was a pie at yours, Al, yeah?
Well, there's that as well.
Yeah, that was always memorable, let me tell you.
Well, Cameron, it was a good party.
Oh, excellent party. I won't get into the guitar skills yet, but yeah, brilliant party, brilliant host.
Yeah.
I'm sure a few of the lads here will be enjoying a couple of days off as well. Cameron, we'll just end this with you. Obviously, Eastleigh in the FA Cup tomorrow. It's nice to kind of get away from that league action, isn't it, and into a cup competition.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the games are coming thick and fast for everybody, So obviously, it's the start of the cup tomorrow for us boys down in League One. So obviously, the gaffer and the team are down there today, being given the weekend off. So it's nice to sort of have a breather and a little bit of a rest, but from our perspective, it's business as usual. Obviously, tricky tie, potential banana skin, but I'm sure the manager will be stressing up how important it is to get through to the next round of the cup and move on. So hopefully the boys can put out a dominant but professional display tomorrow and get the job done.
And Alan, obviously, you're at Bury Town. The fixtures have been postponed at the minute due to COVID, but I bet you can't wait for them to get back playing again.
Yeah, we were 10 minutes away from making it to the first round of the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago. We're locked down now, but yeah, it's been a wonderful start for us. If we win our games in hand, we'll be top of the league. We're selling out. We've been selling out every game, and we built a new stand, and things are just so positive that we didn't want it to end. So we'll be okay. We're in a healthy position, and I guess there's a lot of clubs out there really struggling. How are they going to get through this? But we've been fortunate with our support and our good results in the FA Cup that we're not in. We're financially very healthy. And
that's really, really good to hear. We're going to have to wrap it up there, gents. Thank you very much for joining us and providing such a fantastic insight on Huddersfield Town's draw. Thank you.